Good afternoon. You're listening to My Conscious Dad on your hometown station. I'm your host, Jazmine Urbina, here in the studio with my dad, Alex Urbina. So today we're going to talk about being proactive versus being reactive. And we're going to go over some of the distinctions. Do you want to go over what being reactive means? Because I think that's what we mostly do.
Yeah, I think, when it comes to being a parent, if you can realize that when you're reactive, you're not really creating anything extraordinary in your life. You're just being the effect to whatever's happening. So in the world, you have to look at, you're either the cause of something or you're the effect of something. And when you're the cause, you're powerful. When you're the effect, you're powerless. It's almost like if you were a jukebox and I pressed the button and I was pressing the button with the intention, then I would be causing something. If you were the jukebox and your button was being pressed and you went around spinning around like a record, you would be the effect. And so you have to really look at when you're reactive, you're not really causing anything powerful in your life. And so I want to break down that distinction, proactive versus reactive.
Okay, great. I pulled out an excerpt from the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which is pretty much the same as highly effective people. And the first habit is actually being proactive. So it kind of goes over those distinctions. And I just want to read you something from here. If you can maybe explain it a little better. It says, there are 2 types of people in this world, the proactive and the reactive, those who take responsibility for their lives and those who blame, those who make it happen and those who get happen to. What does that mean? Well,
I just explained the theory when it comes to the jukebox. It's like when you're responsible, your thought process is, I'm going to cause something to happen. I'm either going to cause something great to happen in my life. I'm going to cause my goals to turn out. I'm going to cause some breakthroughs in my family. I'm going to cause, something that I'm going for.
So, but the jukebox is making it happen.
No, the person who's pressing the button is causing the jukebox to play. The jukebox is reacting to the action that the person is doing when they press the button. So would you rather be the person that's pressing the button and playing the music, or rather be the jukebox that are just sitting there spinning around playing the music for the person who's basically in charge?
Well, the person. But in this statement, it's saying there's those who get happen to.
Right, that's the jukebox.
Right, so I guess I'm looking for a different analogy that makes more sense.
Okay, there are people that make things happen, and then there are people that allow things to happen to them. You're either or, and you have to decide from a conscious place which one you're going to be in the world. You're either going to be proactive and make things happen, you're going to be the cause of your life, or you're going to allow life to just happen to you. And if you're operating from, I'm going to allow life to just happen to me unconsciously, and you're not aware of that, you're just being reactive to other people's choices, other people's actions, and that renders you powerless, because from that victim perspective, it's like, why is this happening to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why don't you do this? And you're operating from the paradigm like you can't cause a change. You can't have it be any different.
Okay. So what would you say are some of the tendencies of proactive people?
The tendencies of proactive people is, for one, they don't take things personal. They allow whatever's happening to be distinctively about that thing.
Separate from them.
Exactly. They've separated the thing that's happening has nothing to do with me. So right off the bat, they're not letting whatever's happening tag them, like the jukebox scenario. If I press the button to play that song, you're allowing that person to tag you. And then you go spinning off around like a record player. And usually when we take that scenario into somebody's life that's victimized, when somebody presses the button and they go spinning around like a record, it's usually they go around whining and complaining, being the victim to whatever circumstance is happening. So for one, they don't take things personal. They don't resist what's happening. They allow whatever's happening to run its course. So they operate from, it is what it is. So what? And it has nothing to do with me, and they can separate themselves. So let exactly what's happening, let it be. The other thing is that they immediately start to look for a solution to the problem. They're solution oriented. They don't stick around and hang around in the problem and psychoanalyze the problem and go into the why me and why is this happening. They don't sit there and swim around in it. They start immediately going, okay, it is what it is. So what? Now what? If it's to be, it's up to me. So I'm going to start looking for a solution. They just immediately allow what's happening, and then they start looking for the solution to correct it. Another thing is that they have a positive mindset. They've already conditioned themselves to look through the filters of the glasses half full, not half empty. So they already have a positive mindset. Like, let's get started. What do we need to do? How do we course correct this? How do we cause an intervention in this? Another thing is that they believe that there's always a solution to each scenario. They believe in a world of unlimited possibilities. They're not just focused on, well, I can only see, one option to the right or one option to the left. They start thinking outside the box. Well, how about if we go over it? How will we go under it? They're very creative in their ability to think that there has to be a way. And that also falls in alignment with being positive. Well, there has to be a way. Let's figure it out. And I think that those kinds of people you want to be around. Don't they kind of inspire you a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of they're leading by example. You see this great thing and you want to be it, and sometimes you don't even really know what it is. So it's kind of cool when they're self-aware and you can ask them, like, this person just yelled at you. Why didn't you fight them right here in this middle of the street? And they're like, well, I don't have to. I don't see a reason for that. I just went on with my day.
Yeah, and that's powerful, because as you see that, you go, well, if that's possible, if one person can be like that, why can't I be like that? Another distinction about proactive people is that they're usually calm in scenarios. All scenarios. They usually have a calm stature. They're usually confident in their ability that they can handle all circumstances. So when things go down, that they're not necessarily looking at it as, being a benefit to them. They just start looking for a new solution or a new way, or they figure out how to fix whatever's going on. But usually they're the type of people that when chaos is happening, you look around and they're just calm and collective, and they're like moving forward. All right, let's go. What do we need to do? And pointing things out.
Okay, so what would you say are some of the tendencies of reactive people?
Well, that would be everything opposite of what I just said. They do take things personal. They get their feelings hurt. They get upset. They get angry. They get mad. They resist what's happening. They don't want what's happening to be going on. They can't believe it's happening. Oh my God. They can't believe it's happening to me. They become the martyrs. They're victimized, like they can't change it. They operate from the victim perspective. They also get stuck in the emotional side of the problem, and they swim around and they focus on it more, and they're giving the problem more life. They're breathing energy into it, and they actually make the problem even worse, because they don't realize that they're so powerful that they're fanning the flame of the fire of the problem, and then the problem gets bigger and bigger, rather than waking up and realizing, wait a minute. Now I'm part of the problem because I keep rehashing it, or I keep talking about it, or I keep calling my friends and whining and complaining about it. I'm actually fueling it some more. They also don't, they let their emotions get the best of them. They have a tendency to lash out and hurt somebody, say or do something that they don't really mean. And then normally in hindsight, they look back and later on realize that they regret some of the decisions they made in that moment. And proactive people in that moment, they're not so quick to judge. They're in the moment, just allowing it to happen and unfold, and they don't feel like they have to control the situation.
Yeah, I feel like reactive people make their decisions based on impulse, and proactive people would probably make their decisions based on their overall values, all the things that they already know, because they're not, they take that minute to pause and they don't just jump right into it.
But to be able to be proactive, you have to have some higher level of consciousness than the average person. You have to be really aware. You have to be centered and grounded. You have to be principle grounded. You have to be value grounded. You have to be operating from your principles and values already, like breathing. It's got to just come natural from breathing and being centered and grounded around some principles that you want to live your life by. Unconscious people that are reactive, they're just out there winging it. There is no centered and grounded. They're just all over the place.
I kind of want to go touch back a little bit what you said about the reactive people. I think you said something about they kind of like sit around in their own, like they make the problem worse, right, by putting energy into it, right?
Yeah, because we're so powerful as human beings. We're creators, even when we don't think that we're creating anything. Just our mind, because our thoughts are energy, right? And so even us thinking about the problem, oh my God, I got to pay that bill. Oh my God, I don't have the money to pay that. Oh my God, what am I going to do about it? So the thought of not having it causes the worry, and the worry is energy and it's powerful. And so your worried energy and your thoughts are giving more fuel to the fire. Before you know it, you're all stressed out, and we wonder why we have cancer. We wonder why, we're having these illnesses because of the worry and the stress, and it all comes down to your mindset. Are you proactive mindset or reactive mindset? Are you conscious or are you unconscious?
I really like that idea. I guess I didn't really notice that was a real thing until, when you're sitting around and you're stuck and you're swimming around in that feeling, and it's like in your chest and it's in your throat and you just feel so sick because you did that to yourself. Like sometimes my friends, they're on the same thing for like a week, and they're like, and I'm like, stop, like you're doing this to yourself, just stop thinking about it. And they're like, how am I supposed to think about it? I'm like, well, think about something else. Think about what you're going to do now, like who you're going to be now to fix this. And then they're like, okay, so what should I do? Then we start brainstorming, and they're not stuck in that anymore because they didn't even realize, and sometimes I don't even realize, that all you have to do is now focus your energy on something else, and that'll go away.
That's right. But that's that's the awareness here, and that's why we're talking about this, because some people that are unconscious to a certain level don't realize that they have a choice. And what you did for your friends was you opened up a possibility for them to see that, wait a minute, it's that simple that all I got to do is choose something different. Just all I got to do is, if I'm in the problem, just step left and start focusing on the solution. And that immediately gets you now, puts you in a different frame of mind. It puts you on a new road, a new course to, cause that whole dynamics to shift in your favor. But people unconsciously get stuck in it, and they don't realize, you can't realize you're in it when you're in it. And that's why it's great to have conscious friends or powerful friends that you trust that can, tap you on the shoulder and go, hey, do you realize that you just keep swimming around in your drama? And you're like, you have to be willing to go, no, I didn't realize that. Well, from the outside looking in, that's what I can see. You just keep talking about the same stuff over and over again. Here's where the problem lies, is that most people are your friend because they want to be liked by you. So people won't have enough confidence to say, hey, shut up already. You've been whining about this for a whole week. Why don't you just start to focus on what you can do rather than what you can't do? And very few people have that kind of confidence where they can call you on it. My friends, my real friends, are the ones that are going to say, hey, stop whining. Stop being the victim. You can handle this. Well, why don't you start to figure something out? But it warms my heart to know that that's what you have decided to be for your friends, is to help them out when they obviously can't see that.
Yeah, and sometimes I find myself stuck in my own stuff and still talking about it. I'm like, guys, it's been a week. None of you have said anything. And they're just like, well, I'm like, oh, well, what? You're just, and so we'll just laugh about it because I have to realize it myself sometimes. That's right. And I get to call them out and say, you know what? I would do this for you and I need this from you. And it's kind of hard. For me, it's challenging. It's challenging. It's kind of challenging for me to ask my friends of things. So now that I'm, building better relationships, I'm able to say, if I'm talking about this for more than an hour, tell me to shut up or tell me to get off of it or whatever.
I love that. Great. You're giving people permission to call you on stuff when you know that stuff isn't supporting you. That's called conscious. It's called being aware, is, you noticing that you have certain tendencies to go down a road or go down a tube with no cheese. So, hey, tell my friends, if you see me going down that tube, you have permission to tug me, pull my shoulder or whatever, and let me know, hey, there's no cheese down that tube. And so I think that's cool that you are aware of that and that you're setting yourself up to win, creating a little inner circle where you guys can support each other.
Thank you. I have great friends, if you're listening. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was, I think we talked about this a lot too, is the language that you use or that I use or we use is, it says a lot about us. So if you're coming from a reactive point of view, let's say, for instance, you do something and your response is, well, that's just who I am, right? That's not exactly a powerful response. It's like you're trying to get rid of all the responsibility by saying, that's just who I am, right? So you're not taking any responsibility from it. So if I'm a conscious person and I'm taking responsibility for my life and I'm proactive, then I could just shift simply by changing my words, right?
Yeah, words are important. And, you know, as I started this journey of waking myself up in this, you know, conscious journey, all of a sudden words became important. And I am, you know, I don't see myself as an educated person. Like I didn't excel in school. I didn't go to college. But when I go and do like speaking engagements, or if I'm at some of the colleges and I'm, you know, speaking on stage, or, you know, I'm interacting with people think I have a degree or I'm educated. And that's not really the case. What happened was, in my journey of consciousness, it forced me to learn new words, because words are important. Words mean things. Words have value, and words affect your paradigm and your belief system. So it forced me to really distinguish one word from the other. Here's an example. Helping somebody is distinctively different than enabling. And if you think sometimes you're helping somebody and don't realize you're enabling them, it's because you don't know the distinction of both the words and how they different. The word I'm trying to say is
differentiate.
There you go. See, I told you I'm not educated. But knowing the distinction between helping somebody and enabling them, and then your awareness of it, is what will have you realize that to support people and to really help people is not to bail them out. Is to comfort them, love them, support them from outside and from a distance, matching their percentage of what they give. If, you know, it's like, I'll tell you what, you give 120%, I'll give you 80. But I'll you know, be darned if I give you 180% and you're only giving 20%. So you got to know the difference between helping somebody versus enabling them. And so that's why words are important. But when I sit with somebody and they start telling me their problem or sharing or opening up, the words that they use tells me the level of consciousness they're at. Because if you're at a higher level of consciousness, you don't use certain words that'll let me know that you think that you're not as powerful, or that you can't handle this, or you're not capable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're at a lower level of consciousness, you're using words that identify victim statements. Like, I can't believe they did this to me. I can't believe that this is happening. So as you're talking, you're basically letting me know where you stand in the level of consciousness. And it tells me how powerful you are and how powerless you see yourself. I believe that all people are powerful once you start to wake up and realize and accept that you are powerful. But it's a journey. Everyone has to embark on that journey, and they have to wake themselves up from within. You know, I can't change people. I know that. But what I can do is point out to them some of the things that they're doing that they don't realize that they're doing. So hopefully they can wake up and embark on their own journey.
For me, the thing that switched in my head was coming from the I perspective. I didn't realize how powerful that was until I heard people say, sometimes we, and I'm like, we? You mean you? Because I don't identify with what they're saying, because they don't want to identify with it. They want everyone to be in the same boat as them.
That's right.
They want everyone to be a victim as well. And so now I'm very, very careful where I'll say I all the time. And when I meet people who also use talk from the I perspective, I'm just like, wow, be my friend. Because I think that's so important to me, and I didn't even realize that that's what I wanted in a friendship or in relationships until you get it and until you see other people doing it.
Yeah, it lets you know how powerful people are when they walk around saying, hey, I let this happen to me. Or, hey, this is happening because I trusted this person, and hey, it's a learning lesson for me. Or this is going down because I wasn't willing to say no, or I didn't stand up for myself. That's powerful. Those are the kinds of people that they fire me up. But it's the ones that say, look what they did. Look what you did to me. Those words let you know, are they coming from a conscious, powerful, proactive place, or are they coming from an unconscious, victim, powerless place?
We'll get right back to it when we come back. Stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.